Hello and welcome to another tutorial by TheBlenderanimations. In this tutorial, I'm going to cover how you can make a cloth interact with another material. In this case, I'm going to make it fall on top of this default cube here. So to do this, you'll want to be looking at it from front view, which is number 1 on your number pad. And then you want to move your 3D cursor above the default cube with a left mouse click. Then you want to press spacebar to then add your plane. So you want to go add, then mesh, then plane. And now you can see that the plane is directly above the cube. Now you want to scale it out a little bit. See, that's pretty good there. You want to press tab to go into edit mode. Then you want to come onto this mesh tools area here, and you want to click subdivide 4 or 5 times. I usually do 5, because that is pretty good and it doesn't make the computer run too slowly. Now you want to go onto this object panel in physics, and you want to click this cloth button here. Now this here, where you have material presets, this allows you to set the material to whatever you want it to be. So you have your presets here, which is silk, cotton, rubber, denim, leather. But you can also make your own by playing with the stiffness of the material, the dampness, the springiness, the mass, and the gravity. I'm going to put it to silk, because that's the one I like to use the most. Now we're going to select collision over to the left, and then click this collision button here. And that's what we're going to do on the cloth. Now you want to select your default cube. You want to select this same collision button as well. Now that allows for cloth materials to collide with it, but itself isn't like the actual cube isn't a cloth. Okay, so now we just want to alter where the cube is facing, just to make a more interesting collision. So I'm going to make it come to a point. So then I'm going to look at it from side view, and I'm going to make it come to a point, like that. Now if you hold down Alt and press A, it'll play your animation. And you can see that the cloth just wraps itself over the cube. And you can see that this animation so far runs for 75 frames. That's something that you'll need to know if you're then going to render this. Now with the cloth, I'm going to set smooth and add a subsurface. That way when it falls, that's going to make it run slower, but it's going to make it a lot smoother and less pixelated. That's the same as I showed you in the adding a terrain tutorial, where each face is assigned a different angle to be on, and this just makes them work a lot smoother. Okay, now it'll look a lot better if this material has a color, so we're going to make the cloth red, and then we'll make this cube, make that green. Good. Now if you press 0, you can see from the camera's point of view. We just play that. It looks really, really effective. Now if you are going to render this, you need to make sure that you've done the lighting correctly. So you want to make sure that all areas have light, and just move to an area where you'll want there to be a lot of light, and just then just render that scene to see if it looks the way you want it to. This looks really good, except you can see that there are shadows forming behind, which you might just want to put a light back here or back here to stop that. There we go. That's stopped that shadowing at the back. Now if you are then going to render this, just press F10, change the format to AVI codec, then under compressor change it to Microsoft Video 1, and OK. Then output rather than this temp folder, I'm going to put on the desktop, say this is Silk, and this is where it's useful to know how many frames it runs for. If you just run it through, you want it to go about there, so we'll go frame 85, and it finishes loading. We'll go frame 85. You really just want to make sure that you have an effective view over the whole area, and you want to make sure that you have a good background as well. You know, so do you actually want it to be this blue background? Because you can add in a texture across the back so that you actually can just see a picture of something. But it's up to you. I'll just let this animate. So there's your green cube. This is really effective. You can also use pinning, which is where you can pin the cloth to one area. In my next tutorial, I'll show you all about pinning cloths, and that will show how you can, say, make a flag. Now you can see that the cloth is falling here. It's about to collide with the cube. Now if you want, you could make this cube completely transparent, so you can't actually see what the cloth is being pinned to. You can see the first collision there, and it actually tears through the material. But the pinning of the cloth is really useful if you want to make a flag or if you want to make curtains. You can also add wind to it. But as I said, I'll show you that in my next tutorial. Now if you want to show more detail of this, you can make your cloth a lot bigger. That'll allow it to wrap around and then fold back. But the more frames you set it to, the like not only the longer it's going to go, but also you're going to see the cloth swaying at the bottom to readjust itself. Now if we just play this, you can see that the cloth falls. Yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment or send me a personal message. I hope that this has been a useful tutorial to you, and I hope to see you here next time.